Hello, this is Blue Star. It's a fan around Equestria, and this is my next SeaquestriaFest panel, the Wonderful MaretimeBay 2025. Magic, mystery, and ponies. Yay! Guess much has, in a lot of ways, changed since the last time I did this panel, including an interesting development. Come on. Yes, sir. Because the truth is out there about these. It's like, so I will be referencing. Yes? Hanging on the belt?
Yeah,
or,
good clearance, huh? Yeah.
Okay. We'll be referencing the leaked materials from Doc Anubis / Doc Anubis Alternate, so if this is an issue, then somebody let me know now. But for those who have not seen the leaked materials, there will be previously on My Little Pony. Because there are definitely things that are worth discussing and talking about here. And by the way, I have been informed that there's actually a new leak that was a couple days ago, but since I am here, obviously I haven't had time to watch it and or react to it, so we will not be discussing that. So anyway, starting off with a little recent history, quote unquote, the fall and rise of Equestria. Because it took a while, but we finally learned the history of sort of what happened between the ending of Friendship is Magic to a new generation. So I made this lovely timeline. And we'll start off with the series finale / the beginning of Twilight's reign, and then perhaps maybe 20 years or so afterwards, it's like Opaline is banished from Skyros because she was a bad pony. And she is basically responsible for just about, well, all the bad things that have happened to Equestria since the ending of Friendship is Magic. And all this has resulted in what I sort of think of three main time periods: the crisis, the separation, and the reunification. Because, yeah, it's like, things were pretty good at the ending of Friendship is Magic. You know, all the ponies were friends, and even the creatures in and around Equestria were all friends. So something had to something drastic had to happen in order to break that. Which is why I didn't really believe the story that was in Make Your Mark. It's like, oh, an Earth pony got hurt by a unicorn, and then all the ponies are fighting, and it's like, well, it's happened before, and it's going to happen again. And sometimes even by the Mage 6 as well. So yeah, so that wasn't enough. So it's like, yeah, Opaline was basically responsible for this, because she's almost like the anti-unity, the anti-princess in some ways.
CEO of racism.
What?
CEO of racism.
Oh. So they're like, for all we know, yeah, Opaline hates unity and all this stuff. So maybe she was even the pony that caused this, and maybe she did sort of like what the villains did at the ending of Friendship is Magic, of like maybe they're spreading these false rumors all around Equestria. It's like, oh, these ponies did this, that ponies did that, and it led to this giant fight between all the three pony kinds. But of course, the ponies never knew this at the time. And at this time, the crystals were created, the dragons were hidden away, and Opaline, I guess, is sort of half defeated by the main six, stripped of all her power, and thrown out of Equestria somewhere. And I think at this point, this is where magic stops, because that was kind of the idea. It's like all the magic is put inside these crystals and put away so Opaline can't steal them. Which leads to the separation, a sad but necessary day for Equestria, because things were escalating, and if they continued to escalate, could have resulted in far worse things, like full-on civil war between all the three pony kinds. So, but fortunately, Twilight's plan ensured that the spark of the magic friendship will live on through the ages. So, if I could tell something to myself and or the community at the beginning of Friendship, at the beginning of this generation, I'd be like, don't worry, I know things say bad, but there is a reason, they just haven't told us what it is yet. So yes, so all the three pony kinds, they take away their crystals to their own little corners of Equestria. Yes.
My little pony Civil War, I guess Captain America's here too.
Oh, okay. So yes, all the three pony kinds take their crystals to their own little corners of Equestria. They never want to speak to each other or have anything to do with them again. So once again, though it took many moons, the one day led to the reunification generation where there's hope for us all. Roar. Because yeah, the magic of friendship was spread through with ponies through like Argyle to Sunny to the new Main Six and to eventually the whole of Equestria. So it's a very vital, but the ponies learn what in some ways the friendship magic ponies don't really learn until the very ending of the series is that it's not these crystals that make all this happen. It's them coming together that makes all this happen. And if they want magic back, they need to come back together again. And if they also want to keep magic, they have to stay together. So, in some ways, this plan actually worked. And regardless, the magic of friendship lives on. So, roar. Now I'm going to go hopefully briefly through the locations in the world of MaretimeBay, starting with Pride, a lovely but low-tech artist hideaway, because it appears that the unicorns kind of became like the creatives, the thinkers, and all those sorts of things. That's in some ways they've kind of always been. So, you know, in some ways, moving into a forest and literally living one with nature, like in trees and stuff, that's to them. Zimmer Heights, a fancy fantasy world mixed with technology. And in some ways almost feels like it embodies this generation. It's like, sure, we've moved into the future, the ponies have technology and smartphones and stuff, but we didn't forget where we came from. It's like, look, it's a castle on a mountain that's almost floating in the clouds. You can't get more fantasy than that. I really like its architecture. It's very beautiful but functional, and it almost feels like the Pegasi almost got into performing arts / activity things, because obviously Pip is a pop singer, you know, the Sith eventually becomes like a flyer and all that sort of thing. And the big developments in some ways in all of the three big cities actually was the together trees, because the Main Six actually grow 2 together trees, you know, one in Zimmer Heights, another in MaretimeBay, and they realized that the wishing tree in Bridlewood is actually a together tree as well, and houses the Breezy Night Market, which has magical artifacts that have been lost to ponykind for generations. Although it has terrible business hours of, you never know. So, interesting developments, and certainly was very important to the conclusion of Make Your Mark. Because it means that all 3 of the cities are actually now all linked together, and as well as Opalene's tree as well. Of course, MaretimeBay, a classic small town where every pony is welcome. It's like, I almost feel like the air ponies are more like the everyday ponies, because they're holding regular kind of jobs, like Sunny runs a smoothie park, Hitch is a sheriff, the character logic was like the big factory in the middle of town that employed a lot of ponies. And it's almost set up as a classic small town, like the town itself is mostly shops, services, those sorts of things, and the ponies live outside of it, like Posey lives on the other side of this hill, the Main Six live in the Crystal Bright House, that's like a mile or 2 away. And the Crystal Bright House itself I actually really like, because it is a practical home for not only Unity, but the Main Six as well, because, well, it's primarily a house. And it was also something that the ponies would actually build because they actually built it. I always feel like this was always a lost opportunity, because I feel like there's a story here that was never told, and it looks like the 3 pony kinds might have actually built it together, because it looks like they got trees from Royalwood, the Pegasi may have made the stained glass window, and the Earth ponies probably built the whole thing. And overall, I like this design. I mean, sure, the colors are a little out there, but otherwise, I think this works as a, you know, a house for the Main Six and the Unity crystals. And also has apparently become Casita from Encanto, where it's like, what, did that happen? It's like, I like this development, but it seems to come out of nowhere, but it's like the Crystal White House has almost developed magic powers and almost, in some ways, becoming a character of its own, like in the Wonky Wonkies, that, you know, the Crystal White House packs a bag for Izzy before she goes on this epic quest, which was very fortuitous, because when Izzy finds herself at the bottom of the ocean, she finds the bag contained breathing gear, which is obviously something very good to have. So thank you, Crystal White House, you think of everything. And in some ways it's kind of old news, but I still like talking about this anyway. Panther Logic is now a TV studio. It's an odd choice, but I'm glad they decided to do something with the big building that's sitting on top of the hill. And of course, the really big development of MaretimeBay is the board trot. It's just so much fun. But clearly so much more than that, because you just don't make a magical theme park out of nowhere and have it just be a magical theme park. But definitely more on that later. The Isle of Scaly / the Dragonlands, a natural home for the dragons, because the dragons in some ways have always been natural. As one of the dragons says, it's like, we sleep on rocks. It's like, they didn't develop, cities or technology, they basically live out in the wilderness. So, almost as an extension of, this place does not like technology, particularly the Bear Stream. Because the first time the ponies fly, they're using the Bear Stream, it goes what's called a dead stick, which basically means total engine failure, so... Unfortunately, they were saved by some incredibly large balloons and apparently Izzy's incredibly large lung capacity. And also its entire tail, it gets hit by a lightning bolt and also crashes into the ground, and I don't know how the ponies survived, and I'm glad that they did. So how and why is an interesting question. Why does this almost anti-technology dampening field exist around the Isle of Scaly? Maybe it's these crystals, maybe it's an after thing from the Dragonstone, maybe it was a spell Twilight put on there. I mean, an interesting question, but sadly we've never really learned what causes it, but definitely an interesting development. But I guess it's mainly to keep the Isle of Scaly being quote-unquote technology-free and being the natural home for the dragons. And while the dragons themselves, we didn't really get to learn that much about them, but what we did get to see, I liked, is that it did seem they have to have a range of personalities, and that, we have almost like the youngster characters that are almost, almost kids that have just become adults, to the serious, second in command kind of ponies and all that, I mean, the dragons and all that, so overall, I did like the dragons, and I would like to see more. And the dragons definitely have definitely an interesting development. The dragons now have unique magic fire. Where in Friendship is Magic, Spike was the only dragon who had magical fire. The other dragons just had fire. So they each have their own abilities. They do, different things. My personal favorite is Fountain, who apparently can spray waters. So that means she has anti-fire fire. And they also have cutie marks. When did that happen? I think similar, but perhaps not quite the same, because it doesn't seem to, they don't glow so much when their individual sparkle is glowing, but perhaps when the tribe sparkle is glowing. But in any case, it was nice to see the dragons again. I kind of like these developments, and it would definitely be interesting to see more. Starlight Ridge, a cozy little village that was in just a little bit of trouble. It's like, we only go here like once, maybe twice and tell your tale, but it's a nice cozy little Norman village, and the Aurora Chords almost feel like they could be a variant of the Crystal Ponies because they've got crystal horns. And apparently fun is their power, their magic is strongest when they're just having a good time together. And also magic healing snow. I can't have a film, this would be the perfect place to go learn winter sports because you can both be injured and healed at the same time. I don't know if it quite works that way, but an interesting thought. And actually, two things, obviously, comes back to us, so that's good, but the other major thing here is the Nova Charm, which opens up paths to other realms. So, definitely much more to come on this later. Skyros, the Alicorn Land, and yes, Alicorn Land confirmed! Because I once did a video on the Journal of the Two Sisters, and don't tell Celestia and Luna that I was reading their diary, but it was very informative. Because it mentions the alicorns, and almost implying that there's other alicorns, and maybe they come from some other land outside of the Planetary, and this is basically confirming that in some ways. And then from these pictures, it appears that it has like flying mountains, sort of like rainbow falls, and well, also rainbow balls. So. But considering that most, other than the Princess of Equestria, the alicorns appear to have kept a very low profile, so I'm going to imagine it's pretty remote and or hidden away, so it will not be an easy place to find. And I would think that we're definitely going to be paying a visit there, because this place was just too cool to not go visit. I mean, it's the home of the alicorns. And the Star Scout family crest that we see in this episode of Cut Your Tails could be representing something else. It seems to be representing that there's a much deeper connection to the Star Scout family and the Alicorns. I've always liked to think that maybe like Argyle was like part of some sort of secret society that was like passing along, you know, information about like the previous generation and friendship was backing and all that stuff, because he's able to make these little figurines of the main six when all the other equestrian, like everyone else in Equestria, doesn't even remember who they are. So he did a lot more than just simply go to the library and read a book on them, I think. So it could also be that maybe they have a more direct connection. Maybe they're somehow related to them. Maybe this is partially why Sunny was granted these Alicorn powers. But an interesting development regardless. Because yeah, definitely, Sunny would learn so much from going to Skyros and Alicorn land, because she gets learn so much from her Alicorn. She's had to learn all this stuff by herself. You know, obviously she's had to master her Alicorn powers on her own, and she doesn't even know how do Alicorns work. It's like, what does it mean to be an Alicorn? That's the big question for Sunny. And she could definitely find answers to those questions if she went to Skyros. And possibly Celestia and Luna might be there? An interesting notion, but probably not. But I do have this vision of like Celestia and Luna during the separation. It's like, no, all the ponies are fighting, and I don't think they really like us very much. How about we go back to Skyros? But definitely, I like this where they were going with this, and I would definitely like to see more. And hopefully, the other weeks, maybe we will. And generally on the characters, because I will be doing a full character analysis panel on the ponies and villains tomorrow. That's the main six. And as that one might sort of said, no pony here is exactly what they appear. Because they're less, quote unquote, less elements of harmony and more like real people, where there's more than just one thing going on. Like, Pip is not just an amazing, confident singer, she is also a bait stylist, and she also likes spooky things. She's definitely not the pink pony princess that we are expecting her to be. And of course, no pony's perfect. Every, pony has good points and not so good points, but the good news is that they're learning, and overall, I liked these main six, and I would definitely look forward to seeing more. Now it's time to turn to the dark side. So, if you're gonna maniacally laugh at me, you have to at least be in sync. So, excellent, you could be my minions any day. Like, openly, I'm cunning, manipulative, and envious of the villain, and I am power! I know her element is fire, but I feel like power is more body in what she's about. But at the same time, it's really not just here to take over the world, because I just want to take over the world. It's like, oh, I'll show those foolish ponies how strong I am, not only by taking their magic, but by taking all magic in the world of Equestria, and all shall bow before me. And although unfortunately these choices do not end well for Opaline, so could this be the end of Opaline? Well, unless she goes into hibernation or something, I don't think she's going to last too long entombed inside a tree. But then again, we've seen stranger things in My Little Pony, so you never know. But in any case, I liked Opaline as a supervillain and as a character, and I would like to, and if she does come back, I would like to see more. And hopefully it'll be a redemption arc, because otherwise it will not end well for Opaline. Allure and rich and quiet, but calm supervillain who's just so alluring. But it's definitely more than she appears. Because at first it feels like this minion and supervillain, but we learn through their backstory that they are so much more than that. But at the same time, I feel the need to say that the ends do not justify the means. And are currently living in a cave, plotting their next move, because they've discovered something that definitely changes, their direction, and might give them hope of getting what they want. But in any case, I like Allure and Twitch, and I definitely hope we get to see a lot more in the weeks. Roar. And they're back! Starting with the Breezies, which kind of look the same, but have been like working out or something, because it's like, they're not as frail as they used to be.
They got a gym.
Yeah, they got a gym. Well, they've been stuck in the tree all this time. I guess they had to do something. Anyway. Yeah, it's like at one point, Misty's actually struggling to keep up with one of the Breezes because they're flying so fast. So good for the Breezes. and now appear to be the keepers and sellers of magical artifacts inside the breezy night market, which was very significant to the conclusion of Make Your Mark, particularly this breezy. And of course, the sea ponies. Yay! They might be, and this time they might be quote-unquote true sea ponies and not just hippogriffs in disguise. It's like, and they believe that laughter can cure anything. And they also have cutie marks. Well, I guess they are married to ponies, so I guess in some ways that makes sense, I guess. And yeah, Izzy and Destiny were just so lovely together. I mean, they've only just met, they've developed such a lovely friendship. But perhaps it was too much for the poor cutie mark magic to happen because it results in this giant magic friendship explosion that throws Izzy one way and Destiny another way, and Izzy gets thrown to the portal, so Destiny doesn't like Izzy! Poor Destiny is probably worried about Izzy because she doesn't even know if she's okay until they meet again. In Enchantment Under the Sea. And in some ways, if I'm spoiling anyone, I'm sorry, but this was too good to talk about. It's like, yeah, in this week's animatic, we find out that the Mini Six are invited to Destiny's birthday party, and after putting together this necklace for Destiny, Izzy gives Destiny a shell phone, cutting, so now they can talk with each other anytime they want. Aww. It's like, really, they're just such nice friends. And I really liked this development, and though it felt like there was almost like an episode missing, like we didn't actually get to see them like meeting again, I still really like this development. I'm just so glad to see that Izzy and Destiny get to be closer friends. So, now, magic in general, because the rules have definitely changed since the last time with cartoons acting like the sun and moon now raise themselves. Well, we're in a magical land with ponies. It's like, that breaks every rule imaginable at this point. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. But anyway, yeah. My only thought on this is that, maybe that amulet that Twilight has at the ending of Friendship is Magic, maybe it's being run somewhere by some sort of like atomic clock. But, I mean, in some ways this was a good development for the ponies, and though while I like that each of the three pony kinds sort of had their role in the world, it also meant that they were responsible for every single aspect of their world, including nature, so... And not to mention, they no longer have their magic powers, so they couldn't do those things anyway. But the good news is that the Earth ponies now get their own magic via the Earth pony / Flora magic, and each pony has their own unique ability. Like, some ponies can grow flowers, some ponies can take seeds, and roll them into melons. Hitch has the ability to talk to creatures, so it's a very exciting development. But all these poor ponies had to start from zero, because everything that ponies knew about magic in some ways was lost, and now it's like, they don't even know what magic is capable of or what it can do. So they have definitely a lot of growing pains for all the pony kinds. Well, the good news is Misty has become the student of magic, and maybe hoping to relearn some of those things, but more on that later. But the good news is, despite all these changes, friendship is still magic. It's still the thing that drives this world. As AMY Pony said, that it's not just simply like friendship is magic is not just the subtitle of the series. It's the thing that drives this world, because friendship is literally magic in this world. Once you understand that, everything starts to click into place. Such as the unity crystals, when it's like operates, in some ways as always has, when the ponies are unified, things are good. And when they're not, things are bad. It always operates by what I like to call it, as in electronics is called a capacitor. In that that capacitor stores energy, and when it's full, then it releases it all at once. Which could explain the glitching that we see in the first chapter of Make Your Mark, where magic is just pausing and just stopping, and there's no magic. Well, the ponies are not entirely being 100%, unified in that. So it's sort of like that magic is not quite reaching the discharge point when it's supposed to, and at that point there's no magic. But then when it reaches that point, then it releases the magic, and magic back, things are good. And it almost kind of explains why it might be good for the main six to live in and around the unity crystals, because their unity is actually strengthening the unity crystals. Now the Prince beam is like, I really like the Prince beam, but it kind of, it's sort of from a line from Star Trek, it's like, it's not coming from anywhere, it's just there. If the crystals are like at the bottom of this shaft, I might believe that the crystals are generating it, but it just seems to come out of nowhere. But regardless, it does appear to be powered by cutie marks, specifically the main sixes. Because as we see in Roots of All Evil, in Roots of All Evil, as Opaline is taking each of the main six's cutie marks, one of the colors of the frisbee goes out. So, a interesting long-term development. So, and it also appears to be that the crystals are conduits. So, does this mean that they're almost an element of harmony in some ways? Because the elements of harmony were also conduits. Again, the main six learned that it was never these magical rocks that contained the power. The power came from them and their unity and their friendship. And the unity crystals operate the same way, is that when the ponies are unified, all that magic goes to the crystals. So, a very interesting development, and overall, I like the unity crystals and how they work, because, again, this ensures that if the ponies want to keep magic, they have to stay together. So, the cutie mark magic, where who and what they are now has a magic all of its own. Because while the cutie mark is the symbol of this magic, it is definitely not the source, because we've got the magic in us. Because that magic is driven by who and what you are, what makes you special and unique, and that can't be taken away, so that magic is always in here. And definitely we learned that you're definitely stronger when we can each make our mark. Because everyone has something that's special and unique that they can use to contribute and make a difference in the world. And the cutie mark bonding is like, this is such a lovely, nice thing, but exactly what does it mean? Is it just nice, or is there something more going on? Like, I'm not really sure, but I definitely like this development, and I would definitely look forward to learning more. The mysterious room and the spellbook, an archive of all the generations. Ooh. Because through these same class windows we see apparently what appears to be the G1 defeat of the Smooth, defeat of G1 Tyric, G4 defeat of Nightmare Moon, defeat of Discord, and the G5, the main five united in the magic blanket. So this in a lot of ways changes everything, This and something else that happens to make your mark almost, surprisingly confirms that, there are links to other generations in this generation. So, whoa.
Wait a minute.
What?
Because the previous generations had human beings in them, what does that imply?
No idea. I don't even know what this implies right now. It's like, I've only seen bits of Generation 1 and not the following one, so it's like, I'm not sure how all these generations could somehow be linked together. But interesting that they appear to be somehow. It appears this room is somehow a control room for the Crystal Bright House. Because as Misty's going around pushing buttons, that there's all these crazy things going on inside the Crystal Bright House. Always the question is this room even in the Crystal Bright House? Because we got here through a magic portal, in theory it could be anywhere. But, and Misty has now become the student of magic. In some ways she's almost become the top gun. Not in the sense that she's going to be like the best magic user ever, but my understanding of how Top Gun works is you send these pilots to Top Gun, they come back, they teach those things they learned to the pilots in their squadron, because you just can't send everyone to Top Gun. And it's good that some pony here is learning about magic, particularly someone who can actually do magic, because again, these ponies are starting from zero. They don't even know what it's capable of. So this room is not just for Misty in some ways, it's for every pony. And who or what the mysterious voice is a very mysterious question, because we don't learn anything about it. It's like, is this like the quote-unquote the avatar of the Crystal Bright House? Could this be almost magic itself? Interesting questions, but sadly we never know the answers, but I would definitely look forward to seeing more. The Main Six's talismans, because this week from an episode called Spirit of Adventure confirms that the Main Six were each being given a magical talisman. Like Sunny, the G1 Rainbow of Light. The Spirit of Hope. It's like first I have to say that the last time I did this battle, I thought this was the fire ruby from Friendship is Magic, which it kind of looks like it, but it's not. So, the last time I saw the episode with Rainbow of Light was back in the rerun era of the 90s. So, but in any case, yeah, this is from this was basically almost, I don't really remember that much about it, but it was almost like the elements of harmony of the original generation. They used it to defeat the Smooth, among other things. So now it's somehow been given to Sunny. It was very important to defeating, Oberyn. So this is, but at first I thought, oh my gosh, it's almost like the elements of harmony. It's like, no, but in some ways this is better, because it means that there's 3 generations going on during the defeat of Opaline, obviously Generation 5, but also Generation 4 via Spike, and also the very original generation, so roar! So this is almost like I'm passing on the torch, because after the defeat of Opaline, it's like, well done, Sunny, this is now yours. Do with it as you will. And yes, we used it to stop Opaline, but can we use it again in the future? Because that would certainly be an interesting development. Izzy, the Nova Charm / the Board Charm, the spirit of creativity, because it appears that the Nova Charm had the ability to transport you anywhere within the world of the pressure. No wonder the villains wanted it. But now it almost feels like, it has the ability now to create whatever she wants, because she used it to create the Board Charm, and also, again, at the very last episode of Tell Your Tale, to create this magical water park. So this was not a one-off thing, which is surprising, particularly because the Nova Charm has now been busted into all these pieces. So definitely an interesting development. And through this week's episode called The Spirit of Adventure, Zip's / Sarita's compass, which was, Zip tells us, I'm going to do that. I'm going to say Zip when I mean Pip and vice versa. So yeah, Zip tells us that about this ancient Pegasus sea captain who had this magical compass that gave her all these amazing magic powers, especially under the lunar eclipse. And she's been temporarily turned into a sea pony. It appears to have given her increased wing power and or speed, because she uses it to create this giant vortex to get the main 6 out of the problems they are and back on the dry land. So I guess in the air, it would make her super crazy fast, maybe give her the ability to create tornadoes and stuff, so definitely befitting Zip. And I can't help but think the main 6 combine all these powers together in a, by your powers combined kind of way? Probably not, but it would be an interesting idea. But no, obviously the main 6 are very teamwork oriented, so it would be very interesting to see them combining all these powers and using them together. But definitely an interesting development, and I definitely like the road that we're going down, and I would definitely like to see more, so roar. And of course, the big one in some ways, the Board Charm. As Gallus once said, it's like, oh, the right place to hang out? I mean, sure, but it's a magical theme park. Each of an area dedicated to each of the main 6. Of course, this is a fun place. But clearly, there's much more going on here, because, again, you just don't make a magical theme park out of nowhere and have it just be a magical theme park.
Well, clearly you just did. Sounds like you're talking about.
Yeah, it appears that, well, yes, Izzy uses the Nova Charm to, create the Board Charm. It appears the Nova Charm is no more, because it was busted into 6 Nova Shards, which in some ways now represent each of the main 6. And because Izzy created an area each for the main 6, like Sunny has, I think, her spooky bar, let's see, I think Misty has, a popcorn stand, Hitch has the spears and stuff, so it appears that these are now powering the Board Charm. So it appears that, again, the Nova Charm can do more than just open portals, because this is like transformation, almost creation magic. But it could also be their lore into which might be bad, because if they ever learn about the Nova Shards, they might be able to try to steal them and make the Nova Charm again. And also, if the Nova Charm is no more, does that mean that we have no way to get back to Starlight Ridge? Because the only way we can get there is through the portal, so, particularly for a comic, because now he's kind of stuck here, so. I told the ponies they should have brought a GPS phone or something along. We could have found where the place was and we could just fly there.
Congratulations, you saw it once, so.
Yeah. Oh dear, but anyway, what's next for the Boratron is definitely interesting. But before we can answer that, again, this is going to be the weak stuff, so. Previously on rainbows, hopaladas, and roller coasters. I got that wrong, but oh well. Right words, wrong order. Because like, yeah, this was the what? All right, yeah, this is the second special that was going to be released, and it's like after a fun-filled day of all the ponies enjoying the Boratron, it results in this magical rainbow star thing over the Boratron, which apparently no other pony else notices. But the ponies do notice these magical rainbow waterfalls that develop the next morning, and Zip decides to fly the super coaster right through them, which proves to not be such a good idea because they transport them to the magical land of the Hopaladas, who immediately take them prisoner. They may be ponies, but they're surprisingly tough. And obviously distressed and seeing her friends disappear through a portal, Sunny attempts to ask Allura for help because she's been all over the place. Maybe she knows something, but Allura doesn't quite like the ponies right now, so she's not very interested in helping. Which results in a minor battle between poor Sunny and Allura, and poor Sunny ends up being thrown into the ocean. And while that may have just only hurt her feelings, she decides that, you know, to rally the other main six, and that we must work together to go through the portal, which they do, and are also immediately captured by the Hopaladas. But fortunately, we learned that the Hopaladas are actually these ancient bunny creatures that fled Equestria during the separation because, well, all the ponies are fighting, and they just want to live in peace. But after they learn that, oh, the ponies are all friends again, everything's good, the ponies get to go back through the portal, and in true Bible pony tradition, celebrate with a magical dance party. Which results in this ring of magical rainbow smoke that, you know, goes around them, and then directs Allura over to one of the Nova Shards. So Allura is now fully aware of the Nova Shards and is now plotting on how to get them back. So yes, this is definitely a very interesting and exciting development. And then the first question is, why now? It does feel like there's almost like levels of magic that need to be required for something big to happen. Like the Earth ponies didn't instantly get Earth pony magic. They, you know, the ponies had to kind of like come together a little bit before that happened. So it feels like after all this time of the ponies enjoying the Boratron, it's almost developed enough magic to sort of create these magical waterfalls. And how do they work? Well, it's like, pay attention, there will be a test at the end. The Nova Charm had portal magic, which isn't used to, you know, create the Boratron to begin with, but because it was split into these 6 pieces that represent each of the main 6, that it almost in some ways operates by the main 6's rules now. So the Boratron and or these portals now basically operate by the main 6's rules, which means they have to do this together. That when, you know, Sunny tries to fly through the waterfalls, and absolutely nothing happens. But it's when all the other main 6 combine their magic to go through the portals, then they're actually able to control them. And they also appear to be water-based. That obviously the Rainbow Falls are, you know, in MaretimeBay, but the exit is, you know, this pond in the land of the Hopaladas. So this could potentially mean that these portals could open up in any kind of body of water, a river, a lake, a stream, maybe a spot in the ocean. So definitely some interesting possibilities. And where do these portals go? Well, currently appears the land of the Hopaladas, but where they go in the future could be very, very interesting, because this could be exactly the answer that Allura is looking for. It's like the magic of the Boratron almost wants Allura to find out about the Nova Charm and the Nova Shards. It's like, why would it do that if it's like, really, why? Because this could potentially be the way that we send Allura home. That maybe the ponies and Allura will have to work this together, and when they do, then they'll be able to control the portal magic and send Allura home, and also means that, you know, this might not be the end of the story for Allura. You know, maybe we could go and visit Allura and be friends and stuff. Or maybe Allura will steal all the Nova Shards, shut down the Boratron, and everything will be terrible. But hopefully via the links, maybe we'll find out. So yeah, some final thoughts. Overall, I really like the world of the new world of MaretimeBay. It definitely is full of magic, mysteries, and ponies. And that there's definitely lots of interesting things to learn and discover here. And the basics all have something, you know, that we can understand and relate to. And like Pip is definitely everything that's going on with social media. We definitely almost need a character like Pip. And overall, I really like this world. I definitely like the time that we had here, and I hope maybe the weeks we get to learn more. Because definitely, this world, these ponies, and all that they stand for, continue to be worth defending, and I would look forward to seeing more. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Q&A, if anybody would like to ask questions.
All these leaks are available on YouTube, yes?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, that channel, there's two. There's Doc Anubis is his main channel, but Doc Anubis Alternate is actually where he's posting the leaked materials.
Gotcha, okay.
May he not get in trouble with Hasbro.
God forbid.
I'm going to assume no, because they would have done something by now, I would think.
Probably, yeah.
Yes?
We all know that Media Incredibles is real. It's a psyop thing of the shadow government to steal your career program.
It was still interesting regardless. Any other questions?
This is less of a question, more of like an observation. I always thought it was kind of funny that they go Maritime Bay and like, do they not know how erosion works?
I go to say not necessarily a great idea. I mean, I always love, unfortunately, it's sort of slightly different. Like I always love how the ponies are jumping over the railing and it's somehow apparently landing in the water, even though it's probably a couple hundred feet below them.
Yeah. Like you still see the splash.
It's like, in Roots of All Evil, it's like, is there a pool or something on the other side of it? Because that's a pretty good drop.
Infinity pool right underneath.
It's like, bruh, oh, you're talking about jumping into a pool. Not the ocean. It's like jumping into the ocean. It's like concrete. Bruh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What are
The
these people?
it's like bad day.
They're both different.
But yeah, it's like even the Crystal Bright House. It's like it's like even the Crystal Bright House. It's like the back. I'll call it the backyard. It ends almost like just at the edge of that cliff. So like, don't go beyond the railing. It might not end well for you.
What do you mean backyard? Backyard implies there has to be a yard.
Backyard adjacent.
My brother retries, dude. They won't go white cliffs with Dover.
Any other questions?
There's good.
What?
You referenced G5 having a main 6, but I actually think they were gearing up to have a main 7.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, I personally think that that the writers very much meant to have Comet enter the main cast herd, no pun intended.
Possible.
Basically a few shorts before they canceled things.
Yeah, that's true, because like you did see him a couple times in Tell a Tale with the main cast, so it's just like, yeah, like I think you're onto something there, dude.
It could be. I mean, after Misty was added to the main cast, I guess anything's possible. So it could be.
You know what? This is kind of, trust me, this is related, but only kind of. For those who know Instant Alternate History, this show's alternate history is very similar to JP3's alternate history, in which it's an erratic mess that goes all over the place and stuff.
Okay. I'm afraid I don't know what you're. I'm not afraid I don't know what you're referencing, so I'm sorry.
Okay. History
But
time.
thank you. History time. Uh-oh.
This will be less than 2 hours.
Yes.
What is your best guess that gives the Crystal Palace the casita-like magic?
What?
Like you said that you referenced that the Crystal Palace is like casita now?
Yeah, casita, like-
What is your best guess that powers that gives it that power?
I mean, it's sort of the thing of it's like what Twilight said that in her message is that magic is alive. It's always changing. It's growing stronger.
Right.
So as long as that thing is powering it, is growing and getting stronger, the magic that it can generate and do grows stronger with it. So as the pony's unity is like growing and stronger and stuff, so does the Unity Crystal / the Crystal Bright Houses as well, to the point of like, it's almost becoming a character unto itself in some ways.
Very cool. Thank you.
Good question, thank you.
Great.
Any other questions? Yes?
Why do you think villains like Opaline and Allura, looking at this community themselves a sole person? Like, they figured out this is a group effort?
Because this is... Well, my first thought was that, well, because they're bad ponies, and that's what they do. They like Opaline wants all the magic for herself because it's just like, they dare to defy me in some ways. They dare to be all mean to me. So like now I'll take all the magic and now I'll be in charge and do everything. But like we learned that Allura is like she's in some ways not really a supervillain per se, but of course, yeah, again, the ends don't justify the means. But yeah, she's doing what she thinks she needs to do in order to get home, and in some ways, I don't care what happens to the ponies or anything or any of these other creatures, because hey, they never cared about me. They've ignored me. They've pushed me to the side. So you know what?
To add on to that, I think it's just like the reason for that is because their mindset is like so narrow, and they can't really understand that magic is for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they don't care. They only care about what they want. That's what makes them a villain. A good question. Any other questions? All right, well.
Actually.
Yes?
If you were given the editor's pen for for make your mark, how would you use the red pen?
Oh, was that all? Oh no. That's really good.
Oh my God! Please no.
Oh no. I find his powers already terrifying. I was waiting for that moment where some poor pony gets hit with the magic. It's like, yes. Don't worry, we'll just turn him back again.
Cue the Wicked Witch of the West going, I'm melting!
Yeah, oh my God!
No! Oh, that is a good question. It's like, I'm not really sure. I mean, the one thing that I would have, the only thing I can think of is like, obviously you can't because there's only so much time, so much resources. Is that I would have given both of these series more time, more episodes, more stuff. Because this was the generation that never had the time or the resources to do everything it wanted to do. Like I always think back to, I can't remember the episode title, but the one where they had the crazy over-the-top sporting competition where Hitch is in and he's like being pulled by a gaggle of geese and on water skis and stuff, and they're just looking, Zip and Pip are just describing this through these binoculars. I'm thinking, sort of inspired by a line from a commentary from the Bible on 5 this episode. It's like, we'd love to show you this over-the-top sporting event, but we blew our budget on bridal Woodstock. It's like, yeah, it's like they just didn't have the time, the resources to do the things they wanted to do. So if that's not really the thing of the editor, but if that was the thing I could do for this generation, that was what I could do. More episodes, more time. You know, in season 2, they realized we need to have these 20-minute specials from time to time for, in some ways, the big moments, because you just can't do these things in just 5 minutes. Like, make your, Roots of All Evil and Make Your Mark versus Tell Your Tale, there is no comparison. They tried to do something that took 40 minutes and only 5, so no. But good question. I wish I could probably figure out a better answer, but I have to think about that, because that's a very good question. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm trying to invest in stocks out of my 401k.
I'm afraid that's my dad. You can ask about that, not me. But all I can say is invest in the good companies.
It's good anymore. That's the problem.
Invest in the Roth IRA. You have Vanguard figure it out.
I have one, but
They're not supposed to.
I have a lot of people go to Sunny
Sunny
Selling smoothies? What do you go bankrupt for that?
All right. Any other questions?
Why are you eating Blue Star?
Oh. I guess I like blue and.
Blue Star okay?
What?
Blue Star okay?
Blue Star, okay.
What? I've heard this reference, but unfortunately I don't know what it is.
That's it, you are okay.
I'm okay.
Great job, by the way. That was so fun.
Thank you. So, unless there's any other questions, I guess that's it.
How do you protect your question?
Very difficultly.
He stands around and does absolutely nothing.
They've never gotten the opportunity.
His personality is standing around.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, well, I guess that's it. So, thank you for coming and enjoy the rest of your SeaquestriaFest. Thank you.